Thank you, Richard, for mentioning Dr. David Walker, my dear, dear friend, our friend, former president of Religious Science International, and a great, great light into this world, the pastor of the Los Angeles Church of Religious Science. David made transition this week, and we know loving hands are meeting him in his new experience, but we want to celebrate not only his walk with us, but what he left behind, because he was one of Dr. Robert Bitzer's most important students. I have known David since he was a layman. He used to be the song director of the Selamar. I welcomed him into the ministry. I watched him develop his work. I watched him grow. I served on the board with him when I was 17 years on the board of Religious Science International. He was a wonderful, wonderful colleague, as I was honored to be first vice president and second vice president of Religious Science International. I watched David grow and become vice president and then president of our organization. He was a wonderful leader, and he contributed so very, very much, not only to us but to the world. He has a great congregation in Los Angeles, and our heart is, of course, with them. And we know, as we have moved through the loss of one of our important people here in the past, that they can only become stronger because of his experience with them, and that it will be a wonderful, wonderful celebration as they move forward, demonstrating their next leader and moving forward on the shoulders of a giant, Dr. David Walker. And let's give David a hand. I think he deserves it. Super. I think it's interesting because our lesson this morning is one that is very, very important. It's important in thinking about David. Of course, we all have in religious science exuding confidence. I think he was a model of exuding confidence over the past couple of years. And this experience is one that I think is a experience we see, an event we see in the life of anyone who moves from just knowing about what we teach to knowing as this teaching knows, to think as this teaching thinks. In my book, The Power of Positive Purpose, on page 107, there is a chapter here that really embodies what we want to explore this morning. It is undertaking greater things, page 107, where I say the grand and vivid thinkers of every age have told us the truth and principle of infinite intelligence is the truth and principle of our being. The truth of the universe is the truth of me. The truth of the universe is the truth of you. And if you say I am and put anything less than the magnificence of this universe after I am, you're lying to yourself. You're coming from an ignorance of the truth of yourself. It doesn't mean you're stupid. It just means you're ignoring a greater idea of you. How many have allowed yourself to explore a greater idea of you and then evolved into that idea only to discover it was good enough to be true? Haven't you done that? See, isn't it wonderful? You know, somebody was asking me the other day about my ministry here. 35 years we've been here. And for 35 years, my challenge has been to wake people up to a greater idea of themselves. To listen to the challenges of the life of the people who walk through our doors and our members and friends. And if they have a challenge, I know that it's there and the challenge is there. But I know with the confidence and the truth that we teach, you can meet any challenge in your life. You can move through it and be unmoved by it. How many know that you're wiser, stronger, healthier, and happier because you move through some challenge in your life? Okay. How many know it's as important to know what not to do as it is to know what to do? Okay. Okay. I continue in my in this first paragraph. When we know this and know we know it, we are able to live our lives and love what we are choosing to do with them. I love myself so much that I can love you so much. Who is the first person that should be on your list no matter what's going on in your life? Point to them. You. You see, if you love you and you give more to you, you're going to be able to give more away. It is people who give more away to everybody else around them than they do to themselves that cave in on themselves. You see, when we have a challenge in our life, then we should do what? Celebrate the idea that if we did it the wrong way, all we have to do is do it another way. I love it. There was this story of this woman who listened to the radio, and the radio says, it's a traffic report, and it says there's a car going the wrong way on the freeway. So she immediately gets on the cell phone and calls her husband and says, are you on the freeway? He said, yes. She said, the radio just said there's a car going the wrong way on the freeway. He says, not just one, it's hundreds of them. People ask, where do we find the foundation? I was listening to, and if you're not listening to KGO on Sunday morning, I recommend God Talk. It is just absolutely on Brent Waters. And anyhow, it is just excellent. Did you hear it this morning? Just superb. Anyhow, it is well worth your time. And as they pointed out, I don't care whether you're Buddhist, Baptist, Methodist, Presbyterian, Catholic, whatever you are. If you want to, you can go to the Bible and justify your belief system. Okay, and that also includes us. Because what do? We look for, the metaphysical understanding of every story, every lesson within it, and we find out something very interesting. It is the same story told over and over and over again with a different cast and a different group of people and a different situation, but it's the same story. And the story is, you go through life, you meet a challenge, you try to deal with it at the level of the challenge, and then you do what? You get sick and tired of being sick and tired, go higher than the challenge, find an answer, demonstrate the answer from the new understanding, the challenge heals, and then you move forward only to meet another challenge. Okay. Okay. Now, how many have experienced this in your own life? See, and the thing is don't get upset because you have challenges in your life. That's great. It's wonderful. But always understand that there's always another way of doing it. And you got to watch what you treat for, because you're going to get it. And you're treating how? You treat, we say treatment. Spiritual mind treatment is thinking from spiritual understanding. That's what it means. Because everybody on the planet is involved in treatment. Most of the world is involved in world mind treatment, and they think critically from duality. And they create a version of God that sits up on a throne somewhere that does things to them. Therefore, they don't try to deal with their life because they think something outside of them is willing it or doing it to them, until they find metaphysics. And metaphysics says it is happening to you, but it is happening to you through you. See, 2,000 years ago, Jesus understood this when he said what? It is done unto you as you believe. Now, if that's true, and I believe it is, then what happens is we need to understand that there's a principle that backs it up, and you can't turn it off.